Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
Go further with the American Express Business Gold Card. Earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels when you book through AmexTravel.com. Whether your destination is a business conference or a client meeting, your purchases will help you earn more points for future trips. Experience more on your travels with Amex Business Gold. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
This episode is brought to you by Ferrero. Soccer's biggest stage is approaching, and Ferrero is making it easy to go all in. Pick any 2 Ferrero brands from Kinder Bueno to Ferrero Rocher, and you could win the $1 million grand prize, plus an exciting range of daily and weekly prizes. Don't miss your shot. Official rules apply. Learn more at goallinandwin.com.
Hey, so you're listening to The Chicks Who Love Music. We were just on the awesome show with Jay Scott. The Hook Rocks, the ultimate rock community podcast. Download it, subscribe, listen to us. We're awesome. Thank you, Jay.
Good evening, everybody. It is Jay Scott. It is the Hook Rocks, the ultimate rock community podcast. Welcome back to another edition of the New Music Spotlight here, where we feature bands who are up and coming, who may have been around for a bit, but maybe you haven't recognized them or been introduced to them yet, or maybe they're a new band that's released their first album. But nonetheless, we try to expose you to as much new music as possible here on the Hook Rocks. Brought to you by Pantheon Podcast, the music network of podcasts, or the network of music podcasts, I should say. But welcome back to another show. Hope you're staying safe, staying healthy, and enjoying the beginnings of spring. Hopefully live shows and live concerts are near and upon us, and hopefully we keep good news coming. I know there's been a little bit of a hiccup with some numbers spiking with COVID all over the country, but hopefully that's just temporary, and hopefully we don't go back into what we had to experience last year around this time. But nonetheless, I'd like to welcome in our next guest all the way from Sweden. It is one of my favorite newer bands called Thundermother, and the guest is Guernica Mancini. How are you? How are you doing today?
I'm great. What a lovely introduction. I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. Thank you very much for doing this. I've been wanting to have you guys on the show here for a while, and now we are finally making it happen. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Well, absolutely. Well, we always start the same way every time we have a first-time guest on the podcast, and that is the essence of the show. Just like every rock song has a hook that sucks you in, every rock fan has a moment, whether it's a song, an album, a band, or performance that hooked you on rock and roll. What was it for you?
Oh my God, that's a good question. I mean, I think that for most people, it's several different, moments, albums, situations. Gosh, that's a tough one. I feel like I was kind of a late bloomer when it comes to rock. Like I listened to rock when I was younger, but I really fell in love with it like when in my 20s. What can I say? Gosh, this is really tough. Actually, I do have a great memory from when I was a kid. I remember watching MTV and falling in love with Guns N' Roses and watching the video to November Rain, which is still today one of my absolutely favorite rock ballads. So that's I guess that's my oldest memory, and just really remember. I mean, that video still to this day makes me kind of tear up and get emotional.
Well, music has the power to do that, right? It has the power to make you feel emotion. It has the power to heal. It has the power to do a lot of different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where did it go from there? You heard November Rain. It sucked you in. It pulled you in. And what happened next?
Well, after that, I became a huge Spice Girl fan.
Well, there you go. That's what led to you being in Thundermother, the Spice Girl influence.
No, but I mean, where did I go from there? I mean, I've always been a huge, I guess, music fan. I like all kinds of music, and I've always been singing and trying out like different genres. And then I actually went to school in Los Angeles, so I went to college in LA at a school called the Musicians Institute, and I guess it was around that time when I was really like, I don't know, really trying out rock for the first time and really finding my own voice. So I guess that's where I like evolved and became the singer that I am today. And what was the question again? I kind of like.
Well, where did it go from there? Like after November Rain and the Spice Girls,
yeah.
Where did it go from there in terms of, wanting to sing, and who were some of your, earliest influences with singers and people who have fronted a band?
I mean, I remember my sister getting the No Doubt album, their first album, Tragic Kingdom, and that really inspired me. I thought Gwen Stefani was super cool, and I had never really seen any girls, like that kind of punk attitude that she had, and the whole vibe. I just loved it. So I guess I was like, I must have been maybe 11 or 12 or something. Maybe I was 13. I don't remember. The ages are kind of like blurry to me right now. But I remember my sister getting that album and that being very inspiring. And just, I watched a lot of MTV growing up. I was hooked on MTV. And so, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Anthony Kiedis, and I guess Anthony Kiedis and Gwen Stefani kind of like influenced how I perform and because they have like very, I guess, interesting moves on stage. But as far as the singing and vocally, I mean, Janis Joplin is an influence for sure. And there's so many great singers. And it's really like, I'm a very, it's like I listen a lot to one singer for a while and then I move on to the next one. So a lot of soul, Motown artists, and I mean, there's so much good stuff. I think I've had it when I first started listening to rock a lot. It was a lot of 80s rock. So when I was really finding my own voice, I sang a lot of Skid Row and like Dio songs, and that's kind of how those were like the singers that I felt I could relate to, and I mean vocally. So that's just the kind of music that I found my own way with. Is that a good enough answer? I'm like, ugh.
No, absolutely. No, absolutely.
Just,
I always like to hear the different answers people give, from yourself to, Mark LaBelle from Dirty Honey to, Michael Schenker or Glenn Hughes. They've all got different answers, and it's always fun to hear. My next question on that is, after being influenced by all these artists that you mentioned and that you were hearing, when was the time when you wanted to perform on stage and be in a rock band or sing rock music?
Well, I kind of knew from a very young age that I wanted to perform. I think I wrote my first song in first grade, like with some friends. I might have been first or second grade. So I've always enjoyed performing and singing. Rock, I really became it took over everything. My heart completely, around high school, and in junior high school, I formed different bands, and it was all kind of rock pop-ish vibe. So yeah, around probably high school is, yeah. But I started my first band in junior high.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's. Mm-hmm. Now you're in Thundermother, and how did that all come about? What's the history with you and Thundermother?
Well, Thundermother, for the people that don't know us, has been around for 10 years now. Filippa started the band, our guitar player. She started the band in 2009. And as many bands, she went through a lot of different, people came in and out of the band, blah, 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 until she found us, 2017, the lineup that will be the one forever, I hope. But me and Filippa got to know each other through my previous band, and it was more of a blues rock, Led Zeppelin vibe band that I used to sing in. And I opened for Filippa's other project, which was a blues band called Hi-Fi. And we kind of became, we became friends. We exchanged contacts, and we became friends. And when my band in 2016, we lost our bass player, and we were going through some drama, as most bands do, I reached out to Filippa to get some advice and just to see if she knew someone that could replace him or whatever. And that in that conversation, she then mentioned to me that they were also having problems, but she didn't say what was going on. So I, being kind of the person that I am, I kind of just threw it out there. I was like, well, if you ever need a singer, I'll be there tomorrow. And then Filippa was like, well, actually, would you be interested in auditioning for the band? And I was like, hell yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I've always loved the idea of an all-female band. I've had my own all-female band before Thundermother, and I just think it's such a cool concept and something that I wish to see more of eventually. So when I did the audition, obviously the rest is history. We've been together as a band now for 4 years. We just had our 4-year mark in March, which it's March now, beginning of March. So that's pretty cool. So that's the story. My story in Thundermother.
And how is the collaborative process with you guys? I mean, coming into a band that has a few members leave all at once or over a short period of time, you come in as a singer, and there's already the founding member is still in the band, obviously, and then all of a sudden other members start to come, the drummer, the bass player. So how did that all start, and how was that collaborative process? Because it's basically like a brand new band.
Yeah, it's definitely a brand new band, but with the same heart that Filippa had before, and the same kind of core ideas. The thing is, like in 2017, everyone, the former lineup, all of them quit the band at the same time. And Filippa, who had started the band, she was like, I'm not about to quit this. Like, I definitely don't want to end this. This is my baby, and this is my passion. And, I've dreamt about this my whole life. So I'm not going to give up on the band. So she then found band members that were equally passionate and hungry, like herself. So me, the drummer, Emily, and a girl, at that time, we started the whole thing together with another girl called, her name is Sarah. So in 2017, we all started at this new, I guess, band project at the same time. So it's a fresh start for all of us. And I think that for Filippa's sake, it was really great to finally have members that were on the same page as her and just new positive energy. And I think that if you see the timeline and everything that we've accomplished since we started the band, I think that you could probably, you could read between the lines and see that we've obviously been a very good match and done really good work together. And that's because we have chemistry and we have the same ambitions and goals, and we just really enjoy what we do. And it takes a while for, I think, any band to find that, because you could say that you really want to be in a band, or touring and being a musician is your biggest passion, but until you actually tried it out and kind of lived the lifestyle, you won't know what it's all about. And it's so much more draining if it's not your biggest passion in life. And so finally we have that team, and it's awesome. I think it's been a wonderful ride.
I agree. When you hear the album Heatwave and how powerful that album was, and the synergy with all you guys on that record, it was in my top 5 last year, and we did a show where we rank the top albums of 2020. And my co-host and I, Chris Corradetti, he had it at number 2, and I had it at number 3, and we both just absolutely love the record because there's it's such a powerful, inspiring record with a lot of groove, with a lot of melody, and it just kicks you right in the ass too.
Wow, thank you. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. That makes me super happy. I'm so happy that comes through too, because I feel like we found finally with this album, we found our own. It's obviously we have obvious influences, but we've managed to find our own sound, combining all our different backgrounds musically and stuff. So I'm so proud of our Heatwave, because this is actually the first time that we've all been involved in the creative process, and it turned out to be a successful thing to do, and I'm really happy.
Well, absolutely. You can hear the energy. I always say whenever I listen to you guys, I'd love to see this band live, because the energy is incredible on the album. I can just imagine what it's like to see you guys on stage.
Yeah, it's we just love what we do so much, and that's what I've heard. It's like energy. It's a lot of energy, a lot of positive, good vibes all over. So, I can't wait to go over there to the States or, just start playing shows in general again, because that's what we really love doing, performing live.
Yeah, and that really is, been missing in a lot of people's lives. I haven't been to a show in almost a year and a half, and I usually go to 20 to 30 shows per year. And wow. I've just been missing seeing live music. I guess my next question, though, with the band is, when you came in with the other 2 members to make the the 4-piece band, was it like starting from scratch? I imagine it would almost have to be, considering it's almost, like I said, a whole new band, that anything that happened prior is kind of forgotten, and it's now become, the 4 of you and the newness of it. So it almost has to be like, even though the name has been around, the name Thundermother, it has to be like a brand new band. I
would say partially. That's how you say it.
Yes.
Yeah. Partially it was, but then I think that the first year that I joined the band, Filippa could still, the band had already a lot of things booked. Like they had a tour with the Dead Daisies booked, and a lot of festivals throughout that first summer. And that I know our manager contacted and double checked, is it okay if this new lineup, are they okay? Is it okay if they perform? And most of them said it was okay. So for me, it was more like, you kind of felt like you had to prove to the world, but then again, most people were really positive, and it's been, I don't know, 95% really good, positive feedback. So I was expecting it to be much harder than it was, to be completely honest. I was expecting people to throw stuff at us and say, when we went on tour, but we didn't. We received a lot of love, and I think most people were just really happy that Filippa chose to continue the band.
I agree. I think what, for me, when I hear you guys play, is I can't imagine you guys sounding any different than you guys do now, because I love the band and I love the music. So for me, I didn't know Thundermother previous to you joining the band. So for me right now, this is what you guys sound like, and this is what I like. This is, I have never listened to the old catalog with the other members. So if that means anything, I think it is like your own band now. All four of you, this is what Thundermother is.
Yeah, I mean that means the world to me, and that's how I see it, because I feel like we've done the, we had a steady climb or whatever. Like, it's been really going in the right direction for us, and it's been all since we changed. I mean, since we joined the band. So I think that was just what Filippa needed. She needed new energy, new members that were equally willing to work hard, sacrifice what was needed to, get the band rolling and, working hard. So yeah, I'm really happy that people see that, because I think that if you do look back, I mean, there's tons of videos on YouTube if you're curious to see the old lineup versus the new lineup. I mean, there's also a very big difference in like the musicianship and stuff, and that's not like saying anything bad about the old lineup or anything, but all of us in the band are we've actually like studied music and not that they didn't take it seriously, but we're all educated musicians, and I mean that in itself says it all. I mean, we know what we're doing, and you can hear that, and we really enjoy what we do.
Well, I imagine, coming all the way to the States to go to school for music when you were younger had a big impact on you, because you probably were exposed to a whole different way of playing, a way of singing, and hearing different people and different perspectives. What was that like for you, coming all the way from Sweden to LA to go to school?
It was a shock. At first, it was completely shocking. I mean, it was amazing and incredible, and I learned so much. And I wouldn't be the singer nor the performer I am today if I didn't do that. But it was really scary. I mean, I was a very timid, insecure singer when I moved there. I had been singing my entire life, but I didn't really, I guess, not to sound corny or anything, but I didn't believe in myself. And from the first day at school, they're like, you need to believe in yourself, and you need to be able to do everything on your own. And this like kind of, which is normal to you, but it's like more of an American way of seeing things, and how you have to just work hard and be the best you can be. And, don't be, like put yourself first, basically. And that's not like the normal Swedish way. So I had to I learned that over there, to just, focus, learn how to believe in myself, and really, evolve and develop as a singer and performer. I think that's the performance part. It was huge as well. It was like, you like put in a class, like the worst lightning, and sing in front of this class, and like like in a scene from the movie, like the series Fame from 100 years ago, like yes. Really awkward situations where like they like stop you in the middle of the song, and like I don't feel anything. There's no emotion. And then you have to like, oh my God, you have to start thinking about things in the music that you never thought about before. And that really putting a person in those like really, really awkward situations, it also, I mean, either you crumble and you won't be able to do it, or you like take it all in and learn from it and, you know, become something else. And I think that I managed to do that. But it took me a while and you know, but I would say for anyone that's timid and a little like scared, I mean, it's not impossible. You need to just believe in yourself and it eventually you'll do it, you know.
How does an opportunity for someone like you who lives halfway across the world, how does that opportunity to go to school in LA happen?
I had a family friend that had went there in the 90s, and so it's a school that I've heard of before. And then at the time I had my ex-boyfriend, well, XXX, whatever, it was a million years ago, not 10 years, 12 years ago now, actually. He played drums, and he also wanted to go to music school. So together we decided to apply for MI. And and then we got in, both of us, and we started in the fall of 2007. So yeah.
So the album. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the MI is pretty well known in Sweden amongst musicians.
Sure. I mean, I'm just trying to think of some of the people here. I know a lot of guitar players have gone there. I think like Paul Gilbert went there from Mr. Big. And you know, a plethora of other guitar players. So it is very well known here and held in high regard.
But I mean, it's not. I mean, to be completely honest, it's like I think it's like with any school. It's like it is what you make it yourself. Like if you put in the effort and take advantage of all the great teachers you have, then it could be really great. But I think
Well, the album Heatwave was released last year, and like I said, it had a great response for those that know about it here in the States and across the globe, I can imagine. What is the next step? Are you guys recording new music now?
We actually recorded new music in January, so we are releasing a deluxe version of Heatwave in May, with 3 new songs, 3 acoustic versions of of Heatwave songs, and 3 live versions. And also we released a song called Rock and Roll Heaven a year and a half ago, and that will be on this album as well. So it's like a little deluxe edition type CD that we're releasing in May. And we just released the first single from that deluxe edition, and it's called "The Road Is Ours." So it's out on Spotify and YouTube if you guys want to check it out.
I think that's really interesting because albums in 2020, there was a lot of really good albums, and unfortunately, because live music was predominantly shut down across the globe, a lot of the albums, you know, a lot of the artists like yourselves were unable to tour on the music and on those albums. And a lot of those records, because there's so much music coming out in 2021, because albums were paused, you know, the release dates were held. And of course, people were finding, you know, ways to be creative and making music during the time where they're just sitting at home. So there's going to be a whole bunch of music coming out this year. And I think it's imperative for bands or artists that released music in 2020 to almost re-release that stuff, because there is going to be so much music. A lot of that stuff, unfortunately, may be forgotten because people are going to be out touring. So if you have the ability to release a deluxe edition like you guys are, or do like a re-release of what you guys already did, I think that's very smart. And I think that's what a lot of bands, I think not a lot, every band should be doing that, or thinking about ways to get in front of people.
No, for sure. I agree with all that you said. Definitely And that's exactly why we did that, because we are super proud over Heatwave, and we don't want that album to just be forgotten just because the year was strange. So this way, if you buy the deluxe edition, you get both. You get Heatwave, and you get on top, you get these 10 other songs. And I think people will be really pleasantly surprised over like the acoustic track. We really had fun with those, and I don't know, one of my favorite songs from Heatwave is Sleep, and we did that as an acoustic track, and then we had a guest artist on it. So we have Jesper Vincent, the singer from DAD, sing it with me. So that's super cool. And so it's a really fun way to like showcase the songs again, and also releasing some new stuff as well, obviously.
I love DAD. That's like one of my favorite bands from when I was younger. Just an incredible, incredible band. Disneyland After Dark is, and is it No Prayer for the Pilgrims? I think was their album.
I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but his Jesper, his brother plays the guitar on Bad Habits.
Okay.
So we have like two Vincent on Heatwave.
That's great. Two
DAD members.
Obviously, last year was tough on the music industry, tough on a lot of artists and bands because, your livelihoods were affected. You couldn't tour. You couldn't do a lot of things that you love to do. You couldn't get the music out to the people. What is your perspective on what's been going on, what's been happening? I mean, you're in Sweden, I'm in the States. Most of my listeners are in the United States, and, different states do different things. Different states have different regulations. What was it like there in Sweden, and what's it like there now, present day?
Well, Sweden compared to the rest of the world the country has dealt with the pandemic completely different to everyone else. So the restrictions are more like recommendations. So even though a lot of Swedes are complaining, it's not even close to how you guys have had it, or my sister lives in England has had it. We've been able to do a lot of things pretty normal. I mean, we still, right now you have to wear a mask in the store, and obviously you shouldn't I think the recommendations is like 5 or 6 people at a time, or like, I'm not 100% sure, but it's not as tough as the rest of the world. But I would say as a musician, it's been really tough not being able to do what we do and what we love the most, even though we last year were able to go on 3 smaller tours where we modified everything, so it fit the restrictions. So on some venues, it was 50 people sitting down and with masks and just, spread out. So it's just, and also like sitting audiences, and we've done all the live streams. We also, when we released the album, I think we as a team have been really creative actually during this pandemic. We modified, what's it called? Fire truck. So we played on the roof of that, and then we had like outdoor concerts. So this was in Germany when the restrictions were still like, they were allowed to be, I think like 150, 200 people. And then during one of the tours that we were out on, they changed it to 50. And then after that, it went to complete lockdown. So I'm happy that we still got to do a few shows, even though they were so different from what we normally do. But yeah, I'm right now, I'm kind of like, I wasn't expecting this to go so far into 2021. Honestly, I don't think I've accepted that this is still happening. It's a very strange time we're living in.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't think any of us imagined it would be still going on a year later. Hopefully there is an end in sight. Are things getting better in Sweden?
Right now, I think actually they're getting worse. And Sweden is taking forever to get people vaccinated. So I have no idea. Like yesterday, one of our biggest rock festivals, they, announced that they're moving the festival yet another year. So right now it seems it's pretty dark. I shouldn't be laughing. I don't know. It's horrible. It's the light in the tunnel is like moving further away, but I'm still trying to stay super positive. And we have a tour planned for April, and I'm really the end of April. So I'm really hoping that that's going to happen. And if that happens, then we're going to be like one of the first bands that try out these things where they do like the quick test before you get into the venue. So the German, government, they're like discussing this with our management right now to be like, we'll be the tryout band to try this like thing where people get, tested before the show. And hopefully that will happen, because we don't know how long this is going to, go on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we need to try to find the alternative method so we can go back to some sort of normality.
Is there any, chance of coming to the States and playing for fans here?
In 2022, I'm 100% that would happen. We actually, for Thundermother as a band, even though we're not been able to tour, a lot of great things have happened for us. So I still feel very happy and positive about our future. We signed with CAA, the American agency. So I think that that's for sure gonna happen. Like America, South America, yeah.
That's
in
awesome.
2022.
That's great news. That's the best news that I've heard today. So
that's awesome. I'm happy you feel that way.
No, I know there's a lot of people that would love to see bands like Thundermother from other countries that maybe just don't get the chance to, because there is an expense involved for bands coming from Europe and the UK and other places that, people don't understand how much it does cost to play here.
Yeah. And it's a lot, like the distances are huge. So I guess I don't know how a tour would look, but I can't wait for it to happen, because that would be such a dream to go and tour over there. Or maybe if we can go on a tour where we're like the opening act for a much bigger band, that could be super cool as well.
Absolutely. We'll take anything here in the States.
Yeah.
As far as creativity and as far as writing music during the pandemic, how was that for you? I know some artists have difficulty because they're not living the same life that they are accustomed to, meaning that they're not getting inspired by living, and doing things differently each day. And when you're sitting at home and you're not doing much, it's hard to find that well of creativity. It's hard to tap into that. What was it like for you?
Well, my creativity comes from like, I don't know, I'm a thinker, and I'm a very, I don't know. For me, writing is kind of like journaling. So I think, I've at least gone through a lot of just like ups and downs emotionally. So creatively, that kind of has helped. I try to, like when I wrote most of the lyrics for the latest single, The Road Is Ours, and it's more of like just trying to remember to stay positive and motivated, and things like that. So I think that even it's I guess it's sad to say, but I get very inspired by hardship. It's life is tough, and that kind of at least gives me fuel to write a lot of stuff. But it's on and off, of course. It's not like I'm constantly writing new material, but the frustration with this whole situation definitely has given me a few, lines here and there.
I guess that is the big question, right? When you're writing music, how do you find inspiration? Do you write on personal experience, or do you write on things that you've observed?
Both. I would say most of the times it's personal experiences, and when things happen, I just write it down. And then I'm trying to learn to be better at just finding a theme and then, creating a story around that theme, which we did with the band and the girls for these new songs that are on the album. So it's different from song to song, but I enjoy most the songs that are like from personal experiences where you find a creative way to express something that you've been through in a more poetic and beautiful way, in a beautiful poetic way. And that's not, I also like the party songs and all that stuff, but that's more of like when you decide a theme and then, you work with that. So it's different from song to song.
How is that process though for you when you're having to write or wanting to write about an experience? Not all experiences are great. Not all experiences are happy, but you're tapping into that emotion. What is the process that you go through when you're doing that?
Wow. That's a good question. Wow. I don't think I don't know. I think I just have a need to express whatever feeling it is. And somehow if I'm feeling frustrated or sad or, whatever feeling I'm feeling, it helps me to get it out on paper, it's kind of like, I don't know if cathartic is the right word to say, but it's like, it's a way of dealing with that emotion. And, you get through that emotion by just writing it down and, I don't know, thinking about it in a way.
I imagine it's also therapy too, right? I mean, you did mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How you can go back and view a situation, especially if you're revisiting something that's happened and it's been a bit since it's happened. So you also have a different perspective, right? Once you're removed from a situation, you kind of start thinking. You mentioned you're a thinker at the beginning of the interview. So I imagine that helps you too in processing in the situation and also putting it on paper and being able to express yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
When you're finished with a song, right, and you've completed it and you've gone through that whole process, what happens next is you give it to your fans. Your fans listen to it. And what's the great thing about music and lyrics is it gives a voice to people that may not be able to speak or may not be able to express themselves. Sometimes when you hear a song, it conveys the true emotion and what you're feeling about a situation or about something. Is that important to you, or is it more important for you to write what you need to write and the fans will interpret it and use it however they want?
I think it's like it's a combination of both, where it's like I would love for someone to hear whatever the song that we've created and be inspired or encouraged or whatever feeling they might be feeling from it. But it's also a way for me to deal with whatever feeling I'm having. So I guess the first step is like an egotistical thing where I do it for myself, and then I'm happy that my experience that there's other people out there that might be experienced or have felt the same way that I have, so we can share that in a way. So it's kind of like, it's like both.
As far as is once this deluxe edition of Heatwave comes out and it is released and people get a chance to absorb it, what is next? Are you guys also writing new material too as well?
We're all writing on our own, but we haven't really sat, because we like to do it together. I honestly, I love writing. I love it. I see it as a team effort team thing to do, and I love working together with the girls. So we haven't really started with that yet, but I think we will within a few months, because the plan is to record another album. I don't know if by Christmas or early next year. So I think at least that's the goal right now. So I think by summer we're going to start writing together again, more actively,
How is, we talk about the music scene here in the rock music scene here in the States, and how all over the country, you see it in the UK and you see it in other places. You're seeing a resurgence in rock music. And here in America, unfortunately, over the last 10 plus years, gosh, probably closer to 2 decades, rock and roll has taken a back seat to other genres of music, pop, hip hop, other country as well. Mm-hmm. But now with all this new material and new bands and new artists, you're seeing a upswing here, and I think people have been craving it. What's your perspective being in Sweden with rock music? I know Europe is a lot different than the States, where rock music seems to thrive more in European countries. Am I wrong to say that? Or am I right to say that? What's your perspective?
I think you're right to say that. I mean, I haven't really. I feel like the only experience I've had with rock in the States is when we played the Kiss events, and that was, for rockers, by rockers, and it was a completely different vibe. But I think generally, yes, Europe is very much still a place where a lot of people enjoy rock music, but it's still. You still feel that. It's not a mainstream thing. And we as a band are really trying our hardest to try to reach out to new people, to make them understand that rock is for everyone. And because I think a lot of people have rock hasn't been in the forefront for a while now. And a lot of people that don't listen to rock think that just because you mention rock, it's metal or death metal or black metal. You know what I mean? They have this weird perception of what rock is. So we as a band are really, really trying our hardest to kind of break that barrier that has been created, and I really hope that what, like you said, that it's about to change, and it's changing. And I think that at least for us in Germany, it's we have a really strong following, and going in the right direction for us. But we still have a long way to go to make it, mainstream big. But our ambition as a band is to become as big as all the legends, and AC/DC, those guys. They're legends, but they're really old, and they need. There needs to be new bands that come up and and fill those shoes whenever those bands don't have the energy to continue. And I'm hoping that there's a ton more bands like us out there trying to really make sure that we carry on the torch.
I think there is. I think right now there's a buzz being created with rock music, especially here in the States. You've got bands like Dirty Honey and Greta Van Fleet and Tyler Bryant and South of Eden and all these bands, Joyous Wolf, and there's a momentum building, especially with young people. I feel it too, and I think once that happens, I think it's going to be great for everyone. Now, I'm of the group that thinks that rock never needs to be mainstream. And I don't know if rock should be mainstream. Rock has always been the rebellious form of music, right? It's always been, the kid that can't behave, it has to stand in the corner. And that's fine. And I think rock fans love that. That's what we love about rock music, right? But I think...
Yeah, no...
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Continue. No, I wasn't going to say... You go continue.
No, and I think that's building, especially the connection with the young people I'm really starting to see, because that's really where it's at. A person like myself who's older, who, loves rock music, loves new rock. That's great. And there's a lot of my friends that do as well. But the young people and connecting with the youth is really something that I think will happen and is starting to happen right now.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess mainstream is a kind of loaded word.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, for me, it's more like reaching like a broader audience. Like, we would love to see more teenagers enjoying our music, and I think that you might hate me for saying this, but like, I think it's really helpful for rock in general that artists such as like Miley Cyrus, who's not a rock artist, is at least putting on a rock vibe persona, and that is kind of like luring new, teenagers and that kind of audience into a genre like ours. I don't know. I think that kind of, how she did her new album. She has a whole like she did this thing with Stevie Nicks, and then you know what I'm talking about. But if you listen to the music, especially if you play rock, and if you're a rocker, it's not a rock album at all, at least not in my opinion. But she has that whole look and all that stuff, and I think that those little things that people like her that are like, super mainstream artists, it kind of it might help people bring in people to rock again in another way. And I guess that's what I mean. Not like, I have no intention of being the next big pop star or whatever. I just want new bands to play arenas and conquer the world, and a consequence of being the biggest in the world, whatever, would be some sort of mainstream success. So that's kind of what I meant.
No, I totally understand that. I think my perspective is, we know what makes rock awesome, right? We know, the power chord and the big hook and the melody and all that, right? And I think from my perspective, I think when we're keep trying to redefine what rock is, like when we're defining artists that are not rock artists. I'm not saying Miley Cyrus, I'm saying others too as well, because I'll pick up an article here and I'll start reading it and I'll check out the band's music and I'm like, well, that's not even rock music. And I think everyone's talking about how rock is not imaginative anymore and it's stale. Well, I disagree with that. I think when you keep trying to redefine it and you keep trying to say this is rock, this is the new rock, when we should be celebrating the things that make rock great. Thundermother, when it comes to mind, you hear, the power chord and the power. I mean, that album Heatwave is such a great description musically of what rock is and what should be, that's what should be celebrated. Instead of trying to redefine it and try to categorize it into something that it's not. You look at the AC/DC album that came out in November. They're a legacy band. They've been around forever. That album resonated with young to old all alike because it celebrates what rock is and why rock is awesome. And I think that, when you start defining bands that you listen to, I'm like, is that rock? That doesn't sound like rock music to me. I think that's when it starts to lose its way. Oh, okay.
No, I mean, definitely. This is such an interesting conversation. I definitely, and I really, and thank you for saying that about our album, because that's the thing with us. Like, we're not trying to reinvent the music. We're just trying to just do what we love the most and keep it simple and groovy, and that's what we do. And I'm really happy that comes across on the album. And to me, I feel like we're doing exactly the kind of rock that I love. And I can't say more about that, but thank you.
Well, Guernica, I can only say that we look forward to more. We look forward to more Thundermother. We want more Thundermother, and to keep building on the album Heatwave, which again was one of my favorites, was a lot of my listeners and followers' favorite album in 2020, and hopefully one day you're here playing the States.
Definitely. I hope so too. Thank you so much for having me. Super nice conversation.
Well, I thank you for doing this. Thank you very much. I've been like I said, I've been wanting you on the show for a while now, and I'm glad that you finally were able to do it. And look forward to talking again.
Definitely.
All right, everybody. That's Guernica Mancini from the band Thundermother. I'm Jay Scott. This is the Hook Rocks, the Ultimate Rock Community Podcast. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we will talk again soon. Thank you.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.